Welcome back to EDH Deck Building. I am your host, Demo, and we got some new legendary creatures from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty to talk about here. Just first reactions and maybe what direction you want to go with them. So we're going to start out with Satsuki, the Living Lore. White and a green human druid 1/3. Tap to put a lore counter on each saga you control. Activate only as a sorcery. Okay. Definitely different, definitely new. When Satsuki, the Living Lore, dies, choose up to one. Return target saga or enchantment creature you control to its owner's hand. So enchantment creature, right? Not enchantment. So a saga or an enchantment creature. So it can't be an enchantment or a creature. It's got to be an enchantment creature. Or return target saga card from your graveyard to your hand. Wow, that is an interesting one. No doubt about it. I like that it has, first of all, there's a lot going on here. A lot of it is synergistic, plays into itself, obviously, but you're doing sagas. You're also doing, you have a dies trigger on your commander, which I actually really, really like. Just like all the new dragons that, have those dies triggers, which is very similar, where you get to choose up to one. You don't necessarily have to build around it. It can just be an added bonus where, my opponents want to kill my commander, and when it dies, I get this nice little added bonus. It's not like you have to put a bunch of sack outlets in your deck necessarily, although I definitely would put a few, just like with the dragons. If you're building any of those new dragons or this commander, I would definitely put a high market or something in there, because if you're going to get exiled, sack and response, right? So if your opponents are about to cast a path or a merciless eviction or something, you can high market or whatever sack outlet you have, so that you get the dies trigger, because obviously you won't get it if it gets exiled, right? So yeah, essentially you have a saga commander. That's really what's going on here. Although that enchantment creature part is pretty interesting, where you can return an enchantment creature you control to owner's hand. So boy, what are you going to do with that, I wonder? You could just throw some enchantment creatures in here, I guess. I think ultimately the saga thing is the way to go here for sure, though. Next up, we have Goshinte of Ancient Wars. And we already had a Goshinte. So is that a different Goshinte? A different name? Or is Goshinte not the name of this creature? Does that mean something else? I don't know. Anyway, 2 and a red. Legendary enchantment creature shrine. And of course, the other one was a shrine as well. The mono white one, right? 2/2 with first strike. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay 1. If you do, Goshinte of Ancient Wars deals X damage to target player or planeswalker, where X is the number of shrines you control. Wah, wah. That's my response to that one. It's good in a shrines deck. I'm sure everyone out there who wants to make a shrines deck already has one, is getting pretty excited about all these new shrines coming out. As a commander, though, you're going to be really limited there. The white one I like, because you're making spirits, so you can actually kind of do a little bit of a spirit tribal. In fact, I might actually make a deck tech with that one. I thought of a couple interesting ideas for it. This one, you can't even hit creatures. I don't like it. I don't like that you can't hit creatures with that ability. Let's pretend. And again, we have 2 mono red shrines already, plus this one, so that's going to be 3. Let's assume they make another monocolored shrine in this set yet to come. That's 4 total. So your maximum here is that you're going to have 4 shrines in play. And at the beginning of your end step, you may pay 1. When you do, Goshinte of Ancient War deals X damage. So it's going to deal 4 damage to a player or planeswalker. Yeah, that's not very good. Oof, that's rough. That's tough to build around. I should also note here that something that I had thought about with the last one, and actually did a little bit of research into, so that I didn't make a mistake on this. I was thinking, is shrine now a creature type? Because you have a creature that is a shrine, but it's not. It's still just an enchantment type. Just like if you give clue, for example, or food to a creature, even it's an artifact creature. I know there's a clue one and a food one out there. It's an artifact creature, so it's a creature, but it has an artifact type, if that makes any sense, right? So food and clue are both artifact types. Shrine is a enchantment type. That's why this legendary enchantment creature has a shrine subtype, because it is the enchantment subtype, not the creature subtype. So no, shrine is not a creature type now, and I'm quite certain I'm right about this. And you can't just use changelings here, which is what I had thought about the first one. I thought, I wonder if you could use changelings now. I don't think that's the case. I think you have to use actual enchantment shrines here. So that really limits this commander on what it's doing, I think. Next up, we have Ryu Storm's Edge. 2, a red and a white human samurai, 3/3. First strike, when a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, untap it. If it's the first combat, I knew this is where it was going. If it's the first combat phase of the turn, there is an additional combat phase after this phase. Wow, that's really good. You're already in an exalted theme, essentially, right? So all the exalted stuff will work here nicely. Whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone. So obviously your commander, you could just go Voltron with this. Your commander is a samurai, so it's essentially an Aurelia, right? I mean, it's not an Aurelia, but similar, where you can attack every time Aurelia attacks. You're going to get another attack phase, right? Oh, you know what else would work great with this? Godo would work great with this, right? Because Godo untaps your samurais. But he's not a warrior or a samurai. So he can't, you have to attack alone. Boy, that makes it a little more difficult. Maybe that won't work then. I mean, I think Godo would still be good in this deck because he does benefit. Like, Godo's going to be great in any deck where you have a commander that's a samurai, obviously, right? This is whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, untap it. So can be your commander, can be any other creature. Warriors, I think, is really where you want to go here. I think if you went warrior, and I'm guessing that when they did this, and there's a few commanders that I've noticed now, and a few cards that are warrior or samurai, because my guess is that they thought samurai was a little too limiting. I think it would have been fine if they would have just done samurai. I mean, it includes your commander, right? So, but they added warrior on there to maybe broaden the spectrum a little. And obviously warrior's a very common creature type in commander in the game, right? So there's probably a lot you can choose from there. What I like about this, though, is you can do it differently every time, right? Whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone and tap it. If it's the first combat phase of the turn, there's an additional combat phase after this one. So what you can do is you can attack with a samurai or warrior, and then you get you can attack with it alone, and then after this phase, there's an additional combat phase. So the additional combat phase, you just attack with your whole team, right? Or whoever you want. Right? So the first time around, you're a little limited. And then the second time around, you can just do whatever you want because you're not going to get another combat phase, right? Because if it's the first combat phase, you get an additional one. If it's already an additional combat phase, you don't get anything. So the second combat phase, you can just go nuts and attack with your whole team. So definitely very interesting. No question. Really sweet art, though, obviously. I mean, the art in this set has just been fantastic. I don't think anyone's surprised by that. A little less exciting is Naomi, Pillar of Order. 3, a white and a black human advisor 4/4. When Naomi, Pillar of Order, enters the battlefield or attacks, if you control an artifact and an enchantment, create a 2/2 white samurai creature token Vigilance. I don't think anyone's going to be having their socks blown off by this one. 5 is kind of a lot for this ability. When it enters the battlefield, that gets me thinking, okay, we can do a blink strategy here. White is really good at blinking. We have to have an artifact and an enchantment. Right away, I think of Whip of Erebos and Spear of Heliod, right, which are both artifacts and enchantments. So if we just have one of those in play, we were going to fulfill this, right, because we're going to be controlling an artifact and an enchantment. So, might want to do that. I think ultimately the artifact part is super easy, obviously, because you're just going to have mana rocks in the deck anyway. You could even do treasure tokens to fulfill that part. The enchantment part is a little bit harder, but obviously playing lots of artifacts and enchantments in your deck isn't difficult at all, right? I mean, everyone does that already. So really, I don't know how much you actually have to build around that. Maybe you're building around the ETB more, right? It's enter the battlefield or attack. So I think there actually is a little bit, I won't say there's a lot of ways you can go with it. You can do blink or you can just do attack, obviously. The nice thing here is I can cast my commander. I get the 2/2 white samurai token. I can attack with it the next turn, get another token, and then after I've attacked with it, I can blink it. Put a Conjurer's Closet in this deck so that every single turn you can attack, get the token, and then on your end step, blink it, get the token, right? So you can get multiple tokens a turn here. So pretty good. And you know, artifact lands, obviously, but fulfilling the artifact thing is really easy. The enchantment one's a little bit harder, but you should be okay there. So yeah, underwhelming, no question, but not bad, not bad. And I'm going to finish off talking about the red legendary land in the cycle that we're getting here, just because I think these lands are going to be really impactful. The green one, bananas. Like when I first saw it, I was like, wow, that's really, really good. I think that goes in every green deck, right? It's even better than I thought. It's shocking how good they made that. I don't know what they were thinking there. The red one, not so much. Sokenzen, Crucible of Defiance. Legendary land, taps to add a red. So, I mean, again, just like with the other one, with all the legendary lands, with the legendary lands from the original Kamigawa cycle, there's zero downside other than it's a legendary land, it's a non-basic land. Doesn't come into play tapped, adds colored mana. So there's no reason not to put those in your deck unless you're worried about non-basic land hate. This one also has the channel ability, 3 and a red, discard Sokenzen Crucible of Defiance, create 2/1/1 colorless spirit creature tokens. They gain haste until end of turn. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. So probably going to cast 3. Like, I don't get that. This is very confusing to me because this ability is not very good. Create 2/1/1 spirit tokens. That's like, that's okay. I mean, maybe in a standard, I'm trying to think in standard, even in standard or in modern, I would much rather destroy an artifact, enchantment, or non-basic land than make 2/1/1 tokens. So for me, the green ability is way better on Boseiju, and it costs way less. So, I mean, you're likely only going to pay 1 green for that. Paying 1 green to destroy an artifact, enchantment, or non-basic land is bonkers. This, you're paying likely 3 at least, possibly 4 if you don't have your commander out, just to create 2/1. I mean, it's not bad. That's good. I'm not disparaging it. I would definitely put this again. If this is an not very expensive card, there's no reason you couldn't put this in every red deck, right? You can discard this at instant speed, right? So if your opponent's about to run you over with a creature's, you know, some creature that doesn't have trample, at instant speed, I can discard this, create 2 spirit tokens, throw some blockers in the way. Not bad. It's definitely, you could throw this in any red deck, in any red commander deck, and it'd be good. It is just so much worse than the green one. I can't even, like, again, in commander, I maybe you can make some arguments how in other formats it might be better, but in commander, it's just, the Boseiju, the green one, is like a 10, and this is like a 7 maybe, or a 6 even, right? By compare, like, there's just a huge gap between the two in my opinion. So still good though, still definitely a good card, and I'm very much looking forward to the rest of the cycle. But that is it. Just a few more cards, legendary creatures and land to talk about from the set. Pretty excited. I'm really loving, this is one of the sets, you know, I don't know if I've been excited for a set as much as this one for a long time. I've been really excited about this set, and so far I'm pretty happy with what I've seen. I like it. I like it a lot, and I'm looking forward to more. But that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in.